Vignales there. This is tobacco, when we're on the tobacco road. That's what they're growing here. Tobacco for Cuban cigars.
Two horses in a cart covered with black plastic.
Yes, it's very rural. It's a long way from Havana. Well, we've stopped at this viewpoint where inevitably there's an hotel, and some of these wonderful old cars everywhere. They've painted it shocking pink and then bright orange roof, and then behind it you can see these sort of karst mountains, this very soft limestone. There's a great lump of it on the lawn in front of me here. Inevitable sign here. We are 7,634 kilometres from London in that direction. Quite impressive, just arising straight out of the flat plain, as it were. Not very high, I think about 3,000 metres, about 1,000 metres, 3,000 feet I think you said. And of course the soil is very, very fertile and well drained. And the limestone has a sort of faint pink coloration to it. And it's 27 degrees Celsius, it's not humid, for February it is fantastic. So this is one of the barns which they dry the tobacco in, which we've just been in. This one's thatched with tin sheet. A lot of them have done away with the thatching, it's all tin sheets now. The ubiquitous tin sheet. So this is inside this drying barn, and tobacco hanging everywhere.
Form the basic shape of the cigar.
Good gracious, look at that.
A beautiful Cuban lady.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you will not see women growing cigars on their thighs. Then once the basic shape is done, the cigar is then put in a mold where it's going to be pressed for at least half an hour to be pressed into shape. And once the cigar is being pressed, then they add the last leaf. That would be the wrapper leaf, which is a special leaf. Usually it's the highest quality one, very soft, very silken. It's very silky, very soft. That leaf has to have no imperfections because it's actually the one that will provide the looks for the cigar. So they would wrap them with that last leaf. For the finishing touches.
making our way into this Indian cave, which I think ends up with a boat ride. Now there are steps going down, which are again quite steep and slippery. So you just have to be careful what you're doing, and then it opens up. So having negotiated that, we'll just make our way along this passage. If you're quite tall, and there's the odd place where the ceiling comes down quite a long way. And there are some steps inside which you have to be a bit careful with. There's no mud rush. It's pretty impressive. Some more steps here. At this point it gets really narrow, quite low, you have to duck down to get through.
Don't focus at all. Come on, camera. No, doing your focus. Making noises. No.
Sneak through this little narrow bit.
Momento.
There's a sort of hold up at this point. I suspect it's where you get loaded into a boat. Some come in the other end, they go both ways it would seem. And they go down there, and then they come back again and go back up there. Going the other way. That's quite a long way.
kilometer más, continúa arriba hacia allá. The river continues 1 more kilometer on the right. 1 more kilometer. 1 kilometer más.
Anyway, it continues down there for about a kilometre, but this is as far as we're going.
Looks like tobacco leaf, tobacco, similar. Tobacco leaf.
Stalactites, they look like tobacco leaves hanging in a dryer.
That's a fish. He points out.
Hermano a la derecha, seahorse, seahorse.
Oh, seahorse. Apparently. He's still there waiting. We just had lunch at this Indian cave place. There's a covered walkway here. The most magnificent orange blossom on it. It's really quite stunning. It's absolutely dripping with flowers. So this is where we had lunch at the Indian cave. Temperature is 23, beautiful. This is the prehistory mural painted on a great rock face here. The story goes that when Fidel Castro visited this area in the early 60s, he saw this big rock face and said, wouldn't it be nice if someone painted a mural on it? And before you know where you were, some chap had. It's supposed to illustrate the development of life right from the very beginning to mankind. It was on the far right, and there were sort of dinosaurs and little snail-like creatures. I don't know what those big bear-like things are. They sloths. And the chap who painted it has died. His sort of disciples, they come and keep topping it up as the paint gets washed off in this tropical climate. But interesting though it is, I can't say I'm a big fan. I don't suppose anybody complained with it being Fidel Castro's wish. It is a lovely part of Cuba. These hills are these little mountains are really quite spectacular. A lot of people who live up there apparently. Lived up there for years. The story goes that the valley bottom, which is flat and fertile, was taken over by huge companies, foreign companies in the main, and as they gradually acquired this land, they threw the people on it who were off, and they squeezed them and squeezed them and squeezed them until eventually they decided to move uphill, so to speak, and form some weird religion, in that they believed the water up there was so pure and clear that it would cure anything, and they became known as the aquatics. Which is a sort of strange sect, and they're still there apparently.